Hey, what's going on, guys? It's the Maintenance Kid here again, bringing you another maintenance video. Today, we are dealing with a dripping faucet, right? So, funny story. Before we left yesterday, someone must have put the stopper down in the sink, down in the drain. And after, the little drip, there we go. After it dripped, it filled this whole sink up, all the way up. Now I know that with this low water, this little ring right here would probably push it off onto this side. But regardless, we wasted a whole sink worth of water, right? Just because this faucet's dripping. This one doesn't have an aerator. It goes right here. I have a whole pack of them. We're gonna go ahead and throw one on there after we get done here. But so we got a leaky faucet. Let's see here. So we're gonna use stems, right? So this is the part number that we use. We got the stems, and then the seat and springs, right? Like the seat, and then these are two springs in here. They're kind of twisted together. But then you're going to need some channel locks and a Phillips head screwdriver. So now, we don't like to put more money into faucets or anything that's not necessary. But of course, it's better to go ahead and change them both out at the same time. But so how do we figure out what side needs it, right? Because there's one in this one and there's one in that one. So we go to the source, right? So underneath this, you got your valves down here. This one be the cold one. This one be the hot one. You can tell because see, this one got the dishwasher going to it so that it helps with heating the water. So we're going to go ahead and turn off one of the valves. Yep, she's still leaking. She slowed down a little. Definitely slowed down a little, but she's still leaking. So we'll go ahead and turn this one, the cold one, off. She just did another drip, but after all this comes out, it'll completely stop. So this one, we know is coming from both sides. So we're gonna go ahead and change both of them. So first thing you want to do is double check to make sure that your water is actually off. If you happen to think that you turned off the cold one, but really turn off the hot one, and you go to open this up, water's going to go everywhere. You're going to have a mess. Yeah, you can see how much water already piled up in here. But yeah, so we'll get started here. Let me get you all set up here. Hopefully that's a good view. I can't really tell because of the way the tripod sits. So I'll show you some tips and tricks that I use. They're definitely not necessary. Some of them are not necessary, but yeah. So you're going to want to get your index buttons out of the way. So now it exposes the Phillips head screw on the top. All right. So you're going to want to go ahead and break them free. Set them to the side. Set them to the side. So I always check and make sure that they're not like destroyed. These little caps that we're going to take off here soon, that they're not destroyed because they're what holds all the pressure of the water back, and you don't want one of them breaking on you. But these look okay. They could definitely be used, use some cleaning. But we'll go ahead and get started. Oh, so my second point. So you see how this one has like the little 6-pointed, sorry about that guys, but you see how this one has a 6-pointed nut shape and it's just on the top? When you put your channel locks on them, you're only going to want to hook onto those because you don't want to be squeezing down here. And you don't want to squeeze it really. You want to just get it just tight enough to grip onto it and use all your torque, right? Your twisting motion to get it off. You don't want to squeeze and distort these in any way. They're very thin. Here, I'm going to go ahead and get them off for you. Usually have gloves on working around these things, doing any of the work really, but there was a splurge of the moment. If you've seen my torn my tool bag video, you know that I carry these around with me everywhere I go, just in case if I see a leaking faucet, I go ahead and stop it. And all these tools were in the tool bag video as well. This guy, he's going to come in handy here in a second as well. So you want to grab on this guy, wiggle him up, and I'll always set it straight out to the side. I'll show you why in a second. So now what we got in here, now you can see that seat, and the spring is right up underneath that. You could poke in there with your fingers, try to get it out, but like I've mentioned before, and I guess you guys probably know now, I like to use my little screwdriver, shove it down in there, get a little grip, out comes the seat. Well, they'll never give you this many problems. There we go. Now comes the spring. We'll do the same thing on the other side. All right, see it again. And like I said, if you didn't turn that water off, you would know by now. Honestly, since this is compression fitted in there, you probably would have noticed it after you took that nut off. So we'll go ahead and get this one out as well. This is how they normally come out, all in one piece. And they're a little distorted. Let's see if I can get that on the shot. And I'll get a shot of the new ones beside those. You don't want any of this stuff going down in your sink. So just be careful of that as well. We're not going to compare the springs. The springs are typically not really affected, but try to get them dried off. Oh yeah, and so these seats, once they come out of the water, they make a mess everywhere. And so especially if I'm in an occupied unit, I always make sure that I clean up after myself. I like to leave it better than it was when I got there. But with this, you could clearly tell that these are the new ones. These are the old. Sorry about that. I don't know why my camera keeps shutting out on me. But you could definitely tell that these have been distorted. Usually you'll get some gashing. This one has a little bit. Let me see if I could pick that up on camera. Be on that back side back there. Yeah, that's why I normally wear. Right there where that light is pretty much where the little gash is. But nevertheless, now I use a screwdriver that these can slide onto, but they barely hold onto it, right? Like, I'm not gonna damage it by shoving my screwdriver in it. It's this is a number 2 Phillips head, so I can imagine that any number 2 Phillips head would work. And I'll show you why I use them. So let's see here. I'll go ahead and do it the old-fashioned, old maintenance kid way, right? So go ahead and get my spring. And it's gonna go down in that little hole right there. You can see it. Shove it down in there and drop it. Voila. Well, there we go. Voila. So he sits down in there nicely. Now, before I used the screwdriver, you know, you had to bloop, and then he would flip over on you, right? So we've graduated from that. We work smarter, not harder. So I put the seat and the spring all on there. Let's see here, we'll put it down in this hole here. Voila. Let me sit you guys down. Hopefully you guys can see, kinda. Let the faucet out of the way. That you just shove it down in there. And you're still gonna need to push it. Jumped on me. And you'll feel it. Yeah, you'll definitely feel whenever it seats down in there properly. Like that. Try to get all this water out of here. So you can see it seated down in there nice and flat, right? So we'll do the other one the same way. Usually I do one than the other, but that's okay. No big deal. Right. Oh man. So I knocked this one down. Now I'll show you why I wanted to leave them the way that they were in there, right? Like, see, it's got a tab on this side, right here, where my thumb is. You can't really see. You can kind of see it now. And then there's a tab on the other side. So you can't put them in backwards. So you're like, well, what does it mean when you put them in backwards? If you've ever had a faucet turn off other than to the right, that's what the problem is. Someone put it in backwards, right? And I mean, it still turns off and functions not properly, but it still functions, but you know, it's not the best practice. So we go ahead and put our stems in. One there. And again, one on this side. Now this one I know for sure is right. This one over here, I'm kind of weary of. So you drop it on there like that. And you gotta be careful because you don't want them to move, right? Like this one wasn't difficult. It wasn't pushing back like with this one. See how he's pushing back up? When you set that on there and you twist it, it could actually twist, and you don't want that. So go ahead and put it like that. Hit them with the locks. Just a little bit. You're not trying to kill it. You know, you're not trying to tighten your lugs on your car. But you know, you want it to be. Oh, shoot. And when you're twisting, you don't want to move your faucet, right? Like, it really shouldn't be moving anyway. But whenever you put all that torque on there, you have a tendency of doing so. And then we go ahead and do the other one same way. Like I said, we want to make sure it don't move on us, like so. sorry, the camera's right in my way. Can't get a good angle on it. Like I said, just tight enough, right? Alright, yep, so this video is going to be choppy because I don't know why my camera just keeps shutting out on me. But, so as I was saying, I don't know where I cut off at, but I wanted to show you guys how thin this metal was, but I forgot to show you. But like I said, just don't tighten down on it like super tight and distort it. You don't want it to be bent up. It won't hold well. Alright, so we'll go ahead and put the acrylic handles on. In the future, we're going to go away from the two handle design. We're actually going to start installing the ADA type faucets. You know, the one with the handle, the single handle in it. One, because these the acrylic handles are getting hard to find, and they're getting pricey. Same with the index buttons. They are just, for some reason, all of our residents like to just take them out for whatever reason. They like to just take them off. I don't know what they do with them, but every time we go in an apartment, they're always taken off. So we're going to do away with these style of faucets because it's just extra parts. You know, we want everything to be nice and uniform, so we have to carry as few parts as possible. Right. So then with your aerator, if I could get these out. All right. So I guess like all things, every aerator is going to be different. If I could get these things out, man. My bottle's tore up, right? So it's hard to get them out. All right. So with ours, they have threads on the outside, and they have threads on the inside. I don't think all of them are like that because I know that they're not all like that because I've seen them with only the threads on the inside. But yep, they're 2.0 gallon per minute aerator. Definitely want to make sure that you have your little gasket in there. Now these things go bad by stuff getting lodged in them and clogged up with, you know, hard water, you know, maybe if the little piece of rubber from your spring or your seat got out and ran up your now usually I just put my channel locks on there and tighten it up a little bit. Now there was a video on YouTube I seen that someone used the handle, and I thought that was a pretty good idea to make sure that you don't leave any gashes in there, but you see, normally I don't. Alright, so now we gotta check our work, right? So we'll go ahead and turn our water on. So I'm glad that I did it backwards, right? So that I could show you guys. Right? But yeah, so I'm not necessarily happy that I did it backwards, but I'm glad that I did. Right, so like I said, I don't know where my video stopped off at, but so after we got all this put back together, we turn our valves on, and we have a problem, right? So not a huge problem. This one is working properly, right? Like, turn it to the left to turn it on, turn it to the right to shut it off. But see, this one's backwards, right? That's why I said that I like to set them off to the side the way they came out so that I can put them back in. So we're going to go ahead and fix it, right? So we're going to just reverse the process. Want to turn your water off for sure first. Right, so this will go ahead and show you that you can turn off only one side of the water, and it worked fine, right? So go ahead and get it swapped up. And what I mean by backwards is, yeah, I showed you already. You know, it just got to go on this side. Because this is, like, this little piece right here is what makes the handle stop on it. Right, so it goes on here, it spins, and then it stops on that one, right? So we'll want to reinstall it the other direction that we put it in, only because it was backwards. Tighten up on it. And honestly, before I usually put the handle all the way back on it, I just set it on there usually and turn the water on. So the water's off and it's all the way to the right, to the left, and it comes on. That's how it should be. So you go ahead and put that in there. Tighten down on your screw. Not a lot now. These handles will break, and they break easily. So I don't ever recommend a drill, an impact, none of that on this. You know, like only a little bit. You know, you only need to tighten it just enough, hand tight. And yeah, water comes on. Water comes on. Double check the sprayer. Fantastic. Now all we have to do is clean it up, right? So, like, I'm gonna go ahead and, you know, pick up all the trash, obviously. But even these little rings, whenever this dries up, it's gonna look horrible. And it looks even worse on our porcelain white sinks. All right. Like, if you can get that black stuff up here, oh yeah, you're gonna hear about it. And, you know, just besides not hearing about it, you don't want to do it, you know. If someone comes in to fix stuff in my house, you know, I don't want them leaving anything, really. You know, if it's some trash that they pulled out, you know, if it's a bad stem, I want them to take it with them, you know. Seat and springs, I want them to take them with them, you know. I know some maintenance guys will like to, you know, throw it in the trash, or, you know, like you said, throw it in the trash. But, you know, I don't do that. I guess it's not necessarily a problem that you do. But I don't do it, we don't do it, and I don't recommend it. So usually I'll, like I said, grab all my trash, and my trash comes with me. Honestly, like, let's see. Like, see, this is some of the stuff that just came out of my pocket right before I did the video. Just things that, you know, I don't leave stuff in the apartments. I'd rather have it in my pockets than for them to clean it up. But yeah, we did a good job. She's not dripping anymore. The polar bears thank us, and you can thank me by putting that thumbs up on the video. You could subscribe. You could click the little bell button beside the subscribe button, and you can leave a comment. You know, if you like the way I did it, you know, leave me a comment saying that I did. You learned something. You know, if you know, that's what we're out here doing. We're trying to make ourselves a better maintenance person. You know, we're trying to make ourselves better people, and yeah, that's all for today. Like I said, like, comment, and subscribe to the Maintenance Kid channel. I try to drop all kinds of quality maintenance content. And see you guys next time. And have a good Labor Day.